A rouleau triangle is a geometric shape formed from the intersection of three circles of equal radius, where each arc connects to the endpoints of the other two. It maintains a constant width when rotated and finds various applications in both engineering and architecture. Why am I telling you this? Because today we are taking a look at a new micro-brand watch that its whole conception was inspired by this mathematical concept. Introducing the Alato Arvet, a dressy sports watch with vintage vibes, coming to Kickstarter in just a few days. Alato is a Swedish micro-brand founded in 2023 by a passionate watch enthusiast with education in architecture and civil engineering named Pierre Strömbeck. The company name stems from Pierre's childhood mispronunciation of I love you as Alato, which became a cherished term of endearment in his family ever since. Arvet is the Swedish word for legacy, as its whole purpose is to honor the legacy of German scientist Franz Rouleau, who, you guessed it, pioneered the implementation of the rouleau triangle as a fundamental engineering concept. This is one of the prototypes that were made prior to the launch of the campaign, and I have it on loan for review for a short period of time before I send it on to its next destination. Being a prototype watch, there are some minor changes that are going to be done to it before it hits production, and I will point those out to you when necessary. The Arvet collection symbolizes the three colors that make up a rouleau triangle through three color variants: black, blue, and burgundy. The Kickstarter campaign is set to launch on May 21st, 2024. If you're interested in treating yourselves to one of these after watching this review, I strongly advise you be quick about it once the campaign goes live. If you back the project in the first 48 hours, you will enjoy a super early bird price of $395. After 48 hours, the price jumps to $431, and after 50 pieces are sold at that price, the price is going to set at $458 and remain at that price point for the duration of the campaign. The watch is going to come in this very nice leather holster case inside a hard paper box. Each Arvet will come with a 1-year international warranty. Here are the measurements. The width of the case is 38 mm, and its thickness according to my measurements is 11.2 mm including the protrusion of the crystal. The distance between the lugs is 20 mm, with the bracelet tapering down to 16 at the clasp. Lug tip to lug tip is 45 mm, and sized up for me it weighs 123 grams. Water resistance is 100 meters, perfect for a daily use sports watch. The dial is obviously the star of the show today. There's a lot going on here, so we'll go from the outside in. It starts with a white minute track raised over a grainy background, with lume dots on the 5-minute marks. After that we have a set of custom-shaped indices applied on a record textured ring. These are highly polished and rose gold colored markers filled with lume. The four main indices are an interpretation of the rouleau triangle keeping with the theme of the watch, while all the other ones are more conventional circle indices. The inner section of the dial consists of a beautiful gear shape pattern that symbolizes the fusion of three circles that together form the shape of the rouleau triangle. The Alato logo under the 12 o'clock marker is going to be a tiny bit larger on the production units to make it easier to read. Same goes to the Arvet text above the 6. Beneath it reads automatic and 100M referring to the water resistance. There's no date complication anywhere on the dial, which is always my preferred way. The hands are what Alato call teardrop hands. They are rose gold colored like the markers on the dial and speak the same design language. The hour and minute hands are packed full with lume, while the seconds hand features no lume. According to Pierre, the minute hand is going to be slightly wider at the tip to allow for more lume to be applied and for better overall proportions of the handset. I would suggest they'd shorten the minute hand as well, so it would reach the end of the grooved ring and won't pass it. This way it also wouldn't be at the same length as the seconds hand. Moving on to the loom shot, and the Arvet does not disappoint. Swiss BGW9 Super Luminova was used on the dial and hands, and plenty of it. This reminds us that while being on the dressy side, the Arvet is a sports watch in essence. The indices are large enough to accommodate lots of loom, and again, the minute hand is going to have more loom on it too. A great decision in my opinion. The Arvet sports a nice double-domed sapphire crystal with 5 layers of anti-reflective coating on its underside. This not only ensures that you're always going to enjoy that unique dial while not having to worry about scratches, but I think also corresponds with the vintage style case. Speaking of the case, it is made of 316L stainless steel, and it's hard not to see that it was heavily inspired by the Grand Seiko 44GS case of the 1970s. This iconic design includes multiple facets and a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces. The fixed bezel and the tops of the lugs are highly polished, while the surfaces between the lugs and the sides of the case are treated to a brushed finish. Now I have to admit that the level of finishing is not amazing on this prototype unit, but Pierre assures me that it's going to be done to a higher standard for the production version of the watch. Looking at the side profile again, the watch has a way of appearing slim, with drilled lugs that gently angle down towards the wrist. The crown at the 3 o'clock position screws down into place and has the brand's logo stamped onto its polished top. It is octagonal, with concaved facets complementing the concept of the watch. If you thought all the designing energy went into the facade of the watch, think again. The back of the watch is just as impressive. A flat sapphire crystal covers an exhibition window, through which you can see a beautifully customized rotor sitting on top of a WIS Straps decorated background. The guilloche pattern found on the dial is repeated on the rotor, together with Alato's logo. And hold on to your seats, because the tips of the triangle are illuminated with BGW9 Super Luminova. How cool is that? The case back itself screws down like the crown and has the usual spec sheet engraved on its stainless steel outer ring. Giving life to the Arvet is a Miyota caliber 9039, a Japanese powerhouse, part of Miyota's line of premium automatic movements. This is a high-beat 3-hander with no date complication that beats at 28,800 beats per hour. That makes the second hand sweep smoothly at 8 ticks per second. It sports 24 jewels, hacks and hand winds, has a Parashock shock protection system, and over 42 hours of power reserve once it's fully wound. Stated accuracy coming out of the factory is -10 to +30 seconds per day. The bracelet is nearly perfect. For one, it is an H-link bracelet, which I always loved, and it tapers down beautifully towards the clasp, also something I appreciate a lot. The links themselves are short and made out of solid stainless steel. The H part is brushed on top and polished on the sides, while the center links are highly polished. The links are held together with screws, which helps a lot in adjusting the size of the bracelet. The clasp is great too. It is a fully milled fold-over deployant clasp that has a double pusher security system that operates very well. It is mostly brushed, with a high polished chamfer, and it features the brand's name and logo engraved on top. One more extremely useful feature this clasp has is an on-the-fly adjustment system that allows you to micro-adjust the length of the bracelet very easily. I said this was a nearly perfect bracelet, and here's why. If you look at the end links, which are solid as well by the way, you'll see that they have protruding male center links. These bring the effective overall length of the watch to 50 mm. This is going to play an important part in how the watch wears, especially on smaller wrists. The way the end links integrate with the case also leaves more to be desired, as they do protrude a bit from the case. Here is how it all translates to the wearing experience on my 7-inch wrist. Well, on my wrist, the added length of the hand links is not that of a big deal, though smaller wrists might experience some overhanging. But forget about that for a moment. Look how gorgeous the Arvet looks on wrist. 38mm is a great size for a sports watch, and this one is definitely well proportioned. I love how all the different textures on the dial, the hands, the indices, and the polished bezel play with the light. It's a real treat every time you look down at the watch, and I find myself doing it more than usual with the Arvet. Legibility is also great, and even with everything that is going on the dial, reading the time is easy enough to do at a glance. Okay, pros and cons time. Pros first. A lot can be said in favor of the Alato Arvet. I think that we can all agree that, if anything, this is a very unique piece. It has so many unique elements that put together make up an appealing sports watch. A sapphire sandwich in a nice vintage Grand Seiko style stainless steel case, great BGW9 loom, nice H-link bracelet with solid links, solid end links, and a wonderful on-the-fly clasp, beautiful set of hands, and of course, that mesmerizing guilloche dial that you can get lost in. I love how it all ties up around the rouleau triangle concept. The attention to details and thought process behind every element of this watch are impressive to say the least. Take the customized rotor for example. Those loom tips, I've never seen that done before. And it's such a clever way to utilize the crazy spin of Miyota movements to add a unique touch where you don't normally expect to find it. And one last thought is about the price. I think the Arvet is actually priced very competitively, especially if you grab one at the early bird price. I mean, all of this for just under $400? Just imagine this watch had a big brand name on the dial, and I can easily see it sell for much more. On the downside, the only two things I found that bother me are those protruding end links and the way they integrate with the case, which I've already mentioned, and the crown that, due to its octagonal shape, is a bit hard to grip and operate. Not impossible, just not as comfortable as a more traditional gnarled crown. Some people might find the dial to be too busy, and that's understandable. But like I said many times before, I personally do love busy dials. What are your guys' thoughts on the Arvet? Let me know in the comment section below. As for me, I think it's a great first effort from this young Swedish micro brand. In the description of this video you'll find all the links you need in order to follow Alato and the Arvet's journey, including Alato's website and the Kickstarter campaign page that is going live on May 21st. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my affordable watch collection, and hit the notification bell for more affordable watches related content. You can also follow me on Instagram and get to know me and my collection a little bit better, get all the news about the channel, and connect with me on a more personal level. If you've enjoyed this video, you might enjoy one of these too as well. I want to thank Pierre for letting me spend some time with the Arvet, and to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time.